I think it's still just kind of crazy what certain people could just get away with.
I was gonna go to court before I got high. I was gonna pay my child support, but then I got high.
He didn't do that, as of course now there's a big discussion about what is happening with the law enforcement of this country and whether or not they are actually doing a good job, as a lot of people now have some very serious doubts, specifically when it comes to the leadership of the FBI, that are being doubted more than ever, especially after their latest appearance on Fox News, which definitely is bringing up more questions than answers about important stories of the decade that it looks like they have made their minds up about after a briefing. What's really going on here, as of course there's a lot to discuss here, and we're going to be discussing it in this particular video. So subscribe, click the notification button, as of course there's a lot to get into, specifically when it comes to this big task that these guys have, which is a huge responsibility. As it's pretty clear here, there was legal lawfare used and abused by the previous administrations to the highest extent of violating the Constitution and the law. And will these guys be the ones reining it in and actually holding people accountable? Well, so far, it looks like they are just keeping up with the status quo. They're acting like FBI directors, acting like FBI agents. As, of course, after that disastrous Fox News interviews, we haven't really gotten a lot of statements for them. As, of course, now we are seeing them officially communicate through Twitter, as Kash Patel just announced that him and his partners confirmed today that the FBI arrested a dual U.S.-German citizen that was allegedly planning to firebomb the United States Embassy in Tel Aviv, Israel. As a lot of people are responding to this, the first response here is, who cares about what's going on in Israel? This is America. Remember, America first. Things are supposed to be. And when we are dealing with embassies and consulates, that is considered American territory. So therefore, it is, dealing and taking care of America here. A lot of other people are saying, glad this guy was stopped. We have another person, John Rich, saying, cuff him and stop him. And then, of course, the latest comment here. And then you see a plethora of these comments everywhere. Any updates on the Epstein case? As, of course, this is the issue that has been plaguing this Trump administration, with a lot of Americans expressing some very serious concerns about what is really going on behind the seat of power, as a lot of people are still waiting for thousands of children to get justice here. And sadly, let's just be honest with ourselves, they haven't gotten the justice, and there's a lot of predators out there that are still roaming the streets and committing horrible crimes against the most innocent in our society. As Dan Bongino also decided to update all of us, writing on Twitter, thanks for following this account and allowing us to update you about what's going on with your FBI. And he gave us a few updates about them investigating the cocaine that was found at the White House. The D.C. pipe bomb investigation, I think, is the most important one mentioned here. But then he talks about a lot of other stuff about the leaks and people going to, journalists. And these are, okay, I would say subpar of importance comparatively to the bigger issues at hand here. Comparatively to the more serious issues at hand here with powerful billionaires, power brokers, politicians, Silicon Valley executives, big banksters that were a part of an extortion, racketeering, and conspiracy ring involving small children that we have still yet to have gotten any kind of legitimate answers, timelines on, or any kind of justice. The DC pipe bomb thing, I think, is the biggest one, because I think it definitely unravels potentially a bigger conspiracy afoot here. But again, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel coming out and saying, yeah, two of the biggest conspiracies of our time, the Trump assassination attempt and the and the Epstein saga, oh, we figured it out. Don't worry, trust us. It's what the government told us it was before. It's okay. Yeah, we're fine. We're from the government. You don't trust us? What's wrong with you? They didn't say it that way, but they could have. But here's the most interesting part here. After this kind of disastrous Fox News interview, we have Dan Bongino saying, the director and I have done only one media interview together. And it was a doozy. And it was eye-opening. And it was concerning. for the vast majority of Americans who are saying, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on here? This is weird. He goes on and says, we decided early on to limit our media footprint overall in order to keep the attention on the work being done. That's good. As, of course, the same can't be said for Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem that have been doing a lot of these interviews, to the point where some people have expressed frustration with it, saying, hey, okay, enough. These guys have only done one. I think there's I think there's a middle ground here that I think this administration is still trying to figure out, because I think interviews are important to do here to understand what's really going on at the seats of power and to really understand what's happening in all these high-level government positions. But he says, there are both positives and negatives to this approach. We have chosen to communicate in writing on this platform to fill some of the inevitable information vacuums. I try to read as much of your feedback as possible, but the work day is busy, and my office is skiff with limited phone access. In response to feedback, both positive and negative, from our interview last week, we will be releasing more information which further will clarify answers to some questions asked in the interview. Okay, is that going to be the Epstein stuff? Is that going to be the Trump assassination stuff? We hope so. Thank you for all your support. God bless America and all those who defend her. Kash Patel released another statement on his own personal account talking about how he always speaks the truth. And that wasn't received well at all either. As, of course, the responses here, they're eye-opening. Before telling you about these responses, we want to tell you about wearechange.shop. Sign up on our email list, get 15% off. We got some great products available to you. Some of the products I have with me here. And, of course, we have our Father's Day bundle. I think it's important to be there for your loved ones, for your parents. I think the father's role is incredibly important, and I think there needs to be more of a positive relationship between people's fathers and them. And that sometimes means you forgiving, you being the bigger person. And if you have a strained relationship with maybe your father, maybe get them the Father's Day bundle and try to rekindle some of that relationship with the person that brought you into this life. I think regardless of kind of the circumstances here, it's always better to forgive. And if you want to forget, sure, but family is something that is, of course, a touchy subject for a lot of people. I think it's important to forgive. And I think for Father's Day, this is a bundle that we created that truly will bring a lot of joy to men. We got the essential fatty fish oil, really great for men. Ashwagandha, really, really good. Boost men's testosterone. So if you got a man in your life who's becoming a soy boy, needs more testosterone, have a conversation with them and your medical professional about ashwagandha. Not everyone should take ashwagandha, especially if you're pregnant, like some men are these days, which is weird. Magnesium mist, I really like it. I started to use it every time I go to sleep. I spray some on my feet. Or if I have any kind of strained muscles, I usually put it on the muscle, and then magnesium is great. If your skin gets itchy after getting some magnesium on you, it usually means you're kind of magnesium deficient, as one healthcare practitioner told me. And then we have our Make America Not Fat Again hat, a great hat. Again, this bundle worth way more. It's worth $126, but you can get it now for $71. I think we only have a few of them left, and it's a great gift. It's a great package, and it's just a great way to say, thanks, Dad. Appreciate you for bringing me into this world. And if your dad taught you any kind of personal responsibility or the ethics of hard work, thank him even more. That's rare these days. We need better men, better fathers out there, and less kind of this beatdown and destruction of the father figure, which I've seen in Western civilization, which is probably why it's collapsing and not doing so well. Anyway, let's get back to these comments here, because after Dan Bongino released a statement, he is kind of hinting at here, but because he got a lot of flack, and it looks like it did affect him, since Dan Bongino also stopped following and unfollowed Jeremy from The Quartering, who simply asked, hey, can you tell us what happened at these briefings? And Dan Bongino decided to unfollow Jeremy from The Quartering after he asked that. I asked that, but he never was following me before. But I got to check if I'm blocked. But, the initial comments, Epstein files, release them and the list, everything. Pretty clear here from Test T. Ickles, Brown, PhD, sounds like a very professional person. We got another person saying we didn't vote for reform. We voted for accountability in Dan Bongino's statement here. He talks about we're going to reform everything, saying it's unimaginable that there will be zero accountability for Epstein. Clearly coordinated assassination attempts, J6 coordination. There was even a guy that was promoted by Kash Patel that was a part of the J6 kind of oppressive treatment that they had. Multiple coup attempts, Russia, spying, Seth Rich, WikiLeaks, more. Again, why haven't you or the director rehired the whistleblowers on here that were fired in the last 4 years? Yeah, that's a good one. As, of course, bad people were promoted. And Kash Patel did promote a very controversial person that a lot of people see as the tormentor of the J6ers, who now is the head of the Washington, D.C. field office. This is specifically Stephen Jensen. It looks like he got a promotion, as Kash Patel also has been telling his employees to ignore Elon Musk's email that said, hey, tell us what you're doing or we're going to fire you. And Kash Patel said, no, don't worry about it. Don't answer that email. Again, not good optics here. Another thing that's not good optics is that, and again, listen, it's very difficult to steer a huge ship that's going in one direction with a whole bunch of staff and a whole bunch of people that are your political enemies. I would want to see more firings. We saw one guy being forced to retire, but again, that guy gets a pension. And that guy was the one that was hiding the Epstein files, according to all the sources. That guy was they are applauding him. They're like, yeah, that's a good guy. No. Why does he retire with a pension? Criminal investigation. Obstruction of justice. Oh, look at him. Yeah! What are you doing? Fire people. There's a lot of awful people that clearly have politicized the field office that I believe should be held responsible. Whistleblowers, bring them back in. The people that were fired, bring them back in. The lady that was at the FBI and didn't want to lie about the Hunter Biden laptop story when the FBI literally gagged her, figuratively, legally gagged her, promote her. Not the guy that was tormenting the J6ers with the full abuse of power under the FBI. Why is he the FBI field office director now? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Why is he being promoted? And why aren't the good people? As, of course, now we got even more insight into just how awful this FBI continues to be here, as James O'Keefe asked the government for documents about why he was raided, why his newsroom was raided in this kind of communistic Orwellian purge of journalists. Listen, there was a chill factor going on where specifically a lot of people are like, oh crap, they're going to bust down my door because I'm talking about stuff that they don't want me to talk about. And there were specific instances where the FBI said, yeah, you're not going to talk about where this sickness came from. You're not going to talk about the origins. Oh, you're not going to talk about the Hunter Biden laptop story. You do, you're in a world of trouble. You're going to talk bad about Joe Biden? You're in a world of trouble. You better love him. You better worship him, or else. That was the type of vibe that was going around there. Those guys are still in charge. Those guys are still processing the paperwork. Those guys are still in power. And again, I understand, hey, it's a big ship. Steering it in a different direction is difficult, but I would expect at least a little bit of firings. No firings. One guy gets to retire with pensions after he was clearly obstructing justice. And now we still don't have any answers on what exactly happened here. And now we have our people saying, hey, tell us why the previous guys arrested us and stormed our newsroom. And this is James O'Keefe on the Timcast show. And James O'Keefe talked about, this is what I got. This is what I got in return. Just a fully redacted document.
Oh. Are you effing kidding me?
Wow.
Wait, hold on, James. Is that true that phones can receive emails?
That's one of the few parts that wasn't redacted in a statement that James O'Keefe got from this current FBI.
I guess phones can receive emails, Tim.
Wow.
So they even redacted the little footnotes in the sentences.
Look at you can see.
They redacted the numbers. Now this is not child porn or Epstein. This is not Afghanistan drug traffickers. This is a newsroom being raided by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the United States of America can't release one word of the reason why they did it after admitting there was no crime.
Yeah, that's
and you
correct.
expect me to have faith in this Department of Justice.
So this is the DOJ under Donald Trump, and this is what they put out.
Correct.
So Dan, Kash, or Pam could unredact it and send it to
The
you.
Attorney General of the United States has the authority to unredact this.
So what is in it?
Call Pam. Call Kash. It's like an infomercial. These people get asked 10,000 favors a day. I'm not going to ask. If the system of justice depends upon us asking favors, I don't think the system works.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's not working, and clearly something is wrong here. Clearly, again, Donald Trump represented change. There was a lot of really bad abuse of power under the previous administration that were doing everything they could to stop Trump, his proxies, his supporters, and anyone right of center that had any kind of inkling of success. Let's just be real with ourselves here. The fact that those people are still being paid by me, the fact that my tax dollars are still going to them, the fact that there's still like even lack of any kind of accountability and transparency here. I mean, Kash Patel telling FBI staffers to ignore Elon Musk's email is not a good look. This doesn't breed confidence into a system that already a lot of people had a lot of skepticism on. And again, I think the skepticism is justified here. I think a lot of us have a lot of unanswered questions here. Specifically, also what just happened to Virginia Giuffre. I mean, if you were the FBI, if you were watching these videos when all these stories were kind of breaking, we were saying, hey, send someone from the FBI there immediately. She said she got hit by a bus. There's conflicting reports. You still want to get her testimony. She says she got 3 days to live. Send someone there, figure it out so we know what's going on here. As we have now the lawyer and the father saying, hey, we got some questions about what kind of happened here to Virginia, as Prince Andrew still is walking around free. I mean, if you're the director of the FBI, you have so many strings to pull right now. You have so many people to research, to investigate when it comes to the crime of the decade. Seeing what Dan Bongino just posted, I don't see them being investigated, right? I see a lot of other kind of things happening here. And again, it's not easy to have the job of the FBI. I can only imagine the stress, the pressures, the favors that people are always asking you, and just the horrible type of stuff that you have to deal with here. But again, the people are not going to forget about the Epstein files. Now, Dan Bongino looks like he's hinting at, because again, he could come out, and it could be something completely different. It could be like, I'm giving you guys more information about this other topic I talked about that's totally unrelated to the two controversial topics that, of course, a lot of people expressed a lot of skepticism on based on their briefings. What happened during those briefings? What convinced you otherwise? What's the evidence? What's the information provided to us that should be released to the general public that, of course, will convince us? And again, that there's a possibility here, very slim, there's a possibility here that they could be legitimately convinced. And I don't know. I say slim because how can you say Epstein took himself out? I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense at all. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Everyone who has a pulse, everyone who has some inkling of intelligence and IQ is saying, no way. No way. No way. It's impossible. What did they see that changed their minds? That's the question that's on everyone's minds, and I hope it gets answered. And I hope the white pill, again, there's white pill and black pill here. Black pill moment here, compromised, the state's too powerful, they got threatened, and of course the old FBI's in charge. These guys are only the figures. That's a black pill. White pill. Somehow, some way, these guys were actually convinced, well, no, yeah. It's as we were told it was. And they're still good guys, and they're still working behind the scenes, and they're still doing their best. That's the white pill. A huge white pill that is even less likely is that all of this is a ruse because there's going to be some bigger criminal charges against some of the people involved here, and they don't want to tip them off, and they want to show that they're playing ball, but they're going to have some big changes coming ahead and some big charges and some big arrests coming that, of course, are going to be major, galvanizing, and huge. That right there. That's the huge white pill. The chances, the whiter the pill, the less chances that it actually is possible. white pill situation, not that likely. So far, I got a gray black pill personally myself here from following this story very closely for a very long time. Now, let's pray for the safety and the courage of all of these men to do the right thing during extremely difficult times. I think we could all agree to that. And if you agree with that, share this video. I appreciate everyone taking care of their fathers. Get the Father's Day bundle. wearechange.shop. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.